Chapter 1. You are listening at FameTV.info. In the heavy rain, another wave of zombies began to gather, preparing for a more turbulent attack on the human survival base. The people in the base were in a panic, and the corpses outside the city wall piled up layer after layer. There were both zombies and human beings, roaring, crying, and panicking, accompanied by the unique ho-ho sound of the zombies, inside and outside the city wall, one after another sounds. In the rain, in the bedroom of a villa in the famous Shaojin grottos of the White Tiger Base, there is a man, about 50 years old, curled up in the corner naked. His white flesh is folded into several layers, and there are several bloody and newly scratched knife wounds on it. He slightly closed his eyes, his eyelids seem to be difficult to open, and wriggles his weak head, is struggling to see the scene around. Beside the bed, a plump woman is slowly wearing clothes. The sheets behind her are messy, and the smell is ambiguous. No one doubts what happened just now on this bed. Coming. Hearing footsteps outside the door, the dressed woman sits in front of the dresser and combs her make-up up carefully. In her mirror, the door with exquisite decoration slowly opens a seam, revealing a pale woman. This is Su. Su is very thin and not very tall. She looks like a girl who is not yet fully mature. She takes a pure and pitiful root. However, it can only be said that this is her superficial phenomenon. People who know her well know that Su, the famous, desperate Sanyang, in the last life, is not as pitiful and lovely as she seems on the surface. As she enters the room, Su looks like a pool of stagnant black eyes, coldly glances at the man curled up in the corner, takes out an integral card from her black windbreaker pocket, and hands it to the woman who is painting lipstick in front of the dresser. This is the point promised to you. Take it. The woman carefully applied lipstick, turned her head, raised her eyes and looked at Su with a smile. She stretched out her fingers. The cardamom on her nails was as red as human blood. Her fingers clamped Su's scorecard to her lips. Her eyes were charming and charming. Thank you. If you want to catch anyone in the future, just come to me. I'll be happy to do your business. No later. This is the last one. Su looks at the man in the corner without expression. Maybe he knows that he will die soon. The man is shaking all over. The more he shakes, the more blood he will shed. Around him, he has become a pool of red blood. After listening to Su's words, the woman standing next to her, with her eyes covered with smoke makeup, glanced at Su, who was half shorter than her. Her heart was filled with sadness that she had never felt for a long time. She raised her hand, patted Su's thin shoulder, and advised. We have worked together for so long, and we know something about what you want to do. I can only say that if this is the last one and the result is not good, we also want to be more open. Su didn't speak. She was so cold that she looked desperate. The long hair behind her gradually condensed into ice crystals. Her eyes had been staring at the man on the ground, but the woman beside her didn't answer for a long time. So she sighed, shook her head, walked out of the bedroom and came to the door. The woman turned back and said. Oh, by the way, get out of here after you die, and clean this place for me by the way. Don't make my blood all over the place every time. Nodding, Su agreed. After the woman closed the door, she stepped on the high leather boot step by step to the man's side, raised her foot, kicked the man's head, and wiped the blood from the bottom of the boots on the man's white flesh. The man snorted, could not bear the pain, and reluctantly opened a pair of eyes full of fear and pain. The moment when he opened it, Su bent down, grabbed his hair, took out an old photo from his pocket, and asked harshly, where is the little girl in the photo? What? Little girl? The man coughed hard, and the blood foam came out. Su was afraid that he would spray the blood foam on the photo. He quickly moved away, his hand holding the photo, and then came closer. He grabbed the finger of the man's hair and pulled the man's hair hard. I ask again, where is this little girl, the 2-year-old girl in the picture? She's 12 now. I bought a lot of women and spoiled a lot of little girls. I don't remember this girl, 12 years old. 12-year-old girls, I have a lot here. Don't you remember? Let me help you remember, 10 years ago, where is the 2-year-old girl you bought from Bai Shueli in Chuncheng? When she got up, Su Su raised her foot and kicked the man's head, just as if she wanted to let out all her thoughts in the past 10 years. In the last 10 years, in such an era of war and chaos, she finally found the last link of buying and selling little love. All her thoughts and pain should be relieved with the coming answer. Su Su seems to have no patience. I think. Don't fight. The man on the ground screamed, holding his head in the blood and pleading, I remember that Bai Shueli was sold to me as a little girl, isn't it called Xiao Ai? She died. At that time, there were too many zombies. She cried and asked for her mother. Then. Later, the man did not dare to say, and as a result, there was no need for him to say that the zombies were besieged. If no one distracted the zombies, everyone would die. Su stopped, standing in the same place as a fossil, slowly put down the foot in the leather boots, but her mind kept echoing the man's words, little love, her little love wants to find her mother, There are too many zombies, and all the people around are unfamiliar to Xiao Ai. It's not natural for me to find my mother, but the man in front of him throws out Xiao Ai and distracts the zombie. No matter what, it's better than falling into this Shaojin cave. Mom is here, little love. Mom said that she would find you, little love. 2 strings of hot tears, with Su Su murmuring to himself, fell into the blood on the ground, splashing out tiny ice blood beads. Suddenly, Su Su laughed, looked down in despair and sadness, raised her foot again, and kicked the man's head with one foot. My little love is dead, then why are you still alive? In the 12th year of the end of the world, Su Su had been looking for Xiao Ai for 10 years. In order to save her life, Su Su had countless times to escape from death and killed many people. Her willpower was strong enough to make people feel terrible. To live was more important than anything for Su Su, but now, Su Su looks down at the carefully preserved photo in her hand. In the photo, a 2-year-old girl smiles warmly and lovingly. Su Su's tears blur her eyes again. Her pale lips are covered with silver ice dross, and she whispers. I can't live any longer, Mei Zi. I can't help you clean up your room. I have to trouble you to collect my corpse. In the 12th year of the end of the world, Su Su, who can't kill herself, is just like Xiaoqiang. After killing her last enemy, she committed suicide in Baihu Base, the villa of Maisie, a famous socialite. Listen to the full novel at FameTV.info, direct link in the description.